OK， 差唔多啦，好，唔該。
Please take your seats. Report of the Legislative Investigation Committee press conference starts now. I will invite Dr. Priscilla Leung, Chairman of the IC, to deliver her opening remarks. Friends from the media, thank you for attending this press briefing on report of the IC established to investigate Dr. Cheng Chung-ta. In my address in the Council this morning, I have given a report of the work, the deliberations, and the basis for taking evidence to the Council. By way of background, first, this is the second time the Council has set up an investigation committee, IC, to investigate disorder misconduct by members of the Council. I'm involved in both ICs. The first was to investigate the conduct of Mr. Kam Nai-wai and this time Dr. Cheng Chung-ta. Comparing the work and nature of the two ICs, this one has spent 18 hours. In the last IC, we spent 96 hours in meetings. We held 8 closed-door sessions. Last time we had 57 sessions. The number of persons attending the hearings, there were 7 witnesses, 5 in which were councils, members of the council, and 5 stewards of the council. And 2 were involved in signing a joint petition to censure the member concerned. There were 10 witnesses for the last IC regarding the legal proceedings. And this time is a bit different from the last as well, because in the process of our investigation, there was a court hearing. So in our ROP, we have given due time and procedures for the court ruling to be issued before we finalize our report and conclusion. Both ICs have not invoked the Electoral Powers and Privileges Ordinance. Regarding the allegations of the two ICs, the last IC was allegations against Mr. Kam Nai-wai, and that is, as a member of the council, his open remarks were inconsistent, and he was accused of being unfair to her female subordinate. Now, for this IC, now we do not just consider the conduct of a member as a person per se. Rather, during a sitting, the conduct of a member in council. So we have also look at our standard. The standard of conduct is based on our ROP as well as Article 79(7) of the Basic Law. We look at it from the standard of conduct required of a member, and also whether we are being loyal to our oath. The IC fully understands that we are not a court, nor are we in a criminal hearing. The court has already given its ruling on that criminal case. And for a court, it has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt, and it's been ruled by the court that the conduct was in breach of the National Flag Ordinance and the Regional Flag Ordinance. For this IC, we are looking at our House rules. That is, in addition to our rules of procedure, whether misconduct and a breach of oath under Article 79(7) have been proved. I think this is the first time ever we have a ruling on whether the conduct of a member in the chamber of the council is against the oath and grossly disorderly conduct. The conclusion of the IC is that in relation to Dr. Cheng Chung-ta's conduct in chamber in the process of sitting, when the public was very concerned about the validity and solemnity of oath-taking of members, and after repeated advices, he inverted the national flag and the regional flag. His conduct cannot live up to the public expectation and requirements of the basic law in relation to the conduct of a member of the council. We have to be accountable to the public. We are of the view that our conclusion is an important standard to tell the public what we expect ourselves as members of the council. In particular, Dr. Cheng Chung-ta has not made any public apology since the event. If you refer to the report, you can see that the evidence given by witnesses were recorded verbatim. Some witnesses indicated that if there was any sincere and open and genuine apology made by Dr. Cheng Chung-ta, they could consider forgiving him. But we have given Dr. Cheng a number of opportunities to come directly in front of the IC to give evidence and to tell us his views of his conduct.
We even invited him to comment on the part of the committee's report in respect of the facts relating to his conduct, and he wrote in writing that he would not provide any comments. So the investigating committee has to exercise the authority vested on us by the public and let's go to conduct the investigation, and also in respect of the conduct of the member concerned, come up with a report. So I have briefly outlined the most important conclusion of the committee and the whole process of the investigation. We hope to give you more time to ask questions. I'll also allow other members of the committee to further supplement their views. Let me first ask whether other members of the committee have anything else they would like to comment. Dr. Jonas Ho. Basically, there are 4 chapters in the report covering several important areas, and the basic conclusions are in Chapter 4. In Chapter 1, we have the extract. As the chair said, the investigating committee has carefully given the whole matter careful consideration. We convened 8 meetings and spent more than 10 hours, and we were able to, hear the evidence provided by the witnesses, and our secretariat has also given us, the assistance so that we'll be able to come up with very good results. After we published the report, as the chairman said in the sitting today, there are follow-up work which needs to be done, and we will defer that to the Council to decide, and we will act in accordance with the basic law. Dr. Kwok, during this time, we have convened meetings and have very detailed deliberations before we came up with the conclusions. I'm sure, well, many members of the public have indicated to myself that they have expectations of the conduct of LegCo members. LegCo members and the oath that they take in this council represents a very solemn pledge, and therefore, when a LegCo member acts in contrary to his pledge, this is really disappointing in the eyes of the public. The court has also ruled that Dr. Cheng Chung-ta's behavior or conduct is at fault, and his conduct shows that he's not actually, honored his pledge, or which he took when he took the oath. And I think the public is also querying whether he making the same inquiry. We've come to our conclusion today, and we believe that LegCo should censor Dr. Cheng's conduct. As for the final decision as to what action need to be taken, this will need to be voted by members in the council. Now, we have had many instances of members acting, contrary to the pledge that they have made. I think this actually, sent out a very strong message to the public that Hong Kong is a part of the People's Republic of China. We are a special administrative region of the People of Republic of China. And in this council, no one can engage in any act which is a humiliation to our country. I believe that this will become, a guideline for the conduct of members. I hope the public and members of the council will note that, and I'm sure we'll come up with a reasonable decision after a vote has been taken in this council. Mr. Cheung Kwok-kwan, would you like to also say something? I think members of the investigating committee, well, even though Dr. Cheng did not, cooperate with the work committee, but we still discharge our duties based on the principle of fairness and to verify the facts. And the committee has come to a unanimous conclusion. I believe members of the committee this time has very honestly and fairly discharge their duties and come up with their recommendations. Going forward, we will leave it to the council for all members to, express their views regarding our report and indicate whether they support our conclusions. I hope LegCo members can really come up with a decision based on the facts, and they should not just rely on their own political affiliations. I believe the people of Hong Kong expect that each and every member of this council can come to a conclusion based on the facts. I think the committee has now concluded its work, and we hope that all members of this council will be able to discharge their duties fairly and come up with a decision that is both, fair and in compliance with the law. Mr. Chen Ying. I think we have seen that members of the investigating committee are all part of the pro-government camp. However, in the course of the investigation, we have looked at the facts objectively. For some of the elements which were matters of personal judgment, we've not included that in our report. I must emphasize, as Dr. Cheng Kwan said, that in the whole process, we've tried our best to be fair, objective, and just, and we've only stated the facts, and our judgments are also based on those facts. I hope after the report is submitted to the Council, our colleagues should abide by the same principle to come to a judgment in respect of our recommendations in the report. And finally, of course, it will be up to the Council to make the final decision. I hope that decision would represent the final decision of members of the Council. Mr. Luk Chung-hong, Dr. Cheng Chung-ta, inverted the mock-up of the national flag, and his conduct has really been very disappointing to the people of Hong Kong, and we are also very angry. It shows that Dr. Cheng did this deliberately, and his conduct was actually a humiliation to our national flag. And on the day in question, Dr. Cheng actually warned and rebuked him, but he still repeated the act, which was a humiliation of our national flag, and the court has also made the same conclusion. As to whether or not this act represents misconduct on his part, I think the general member public have high expectations of the conduct of members of this council. Our council is a solemn, venue. It's not a place where people can do things according to their own whims. So, and also the whole proceedings was broadcast live. Furthermore, Dr. Cheng had not expressed any remorse, and he had not extended any apology. So therefore, it is a misconduct on his part. We all know that as legislative members, we have to take an oath to, swear our allegiance to the People's Republic of China and also our allegiance to the SAR. In the ruling in 1999 by the CFA, the national flag was recognized as, a symbol of the sovereignty of the country. So his conduct obviously had to do with his oath. If someone were to sincerely, was sincerely loyal to the basic law and pledge his allegiance, he would not have repeatedly engaged in such acts. So we've established the facts and come to the conclusion that he is actually acting contrary to the pledge or oath that he has taken, and this is obvious to the general public.
To protect the dignity of the Council and the dignity of our national flag and regional flag, the IC has come to the unanimous view that Dr. Cheng Chung-ta should be censored. I hope that in the voting process, all members of the Council will attach significance to the dignity of the Council and the Hong Kong SAR. I hope that they will support the motion based on this fact. Mr. Shiu Ka-chun, I think the chair lady has more or less expressed all we want to say. I just want to stress that our conclusion or our views are unanimous. And if we are disrespectful of our country and the national flag, this is not to be allowed. And the IC is not alone in this view. This is shared by the court ruling. So I hope that Mr. Cheng Chung-ta can reflect on his own conduct. The next step is for the whole council to express, to be accountable to the public by means of a voting. May I supplement? First, I must say that the whole process, under the IC established under ROP 49A, 49B1, both Mr. Kam Nai-wai and Dr. Cheng Chung-ta, as well as the SG and assistant SG, and also the legal team of the council were present in the proceedings of both ICs. and all evidence taking our meetings have been recorded. And we hope that on the 9th of May, we can secure a slot in the Council for discussion of this subject. Under Article 79(7) of the Basic Law, a motion for censuring a member for misbehavior or breach of oath. Now, we have recommended such a motion be moved, and we will have to this will have to be deliberated by the Council, and we need the support of 2/3 of the members of the LegCo present. So we will submit this report to the Council for discussion and to make a decision. Yes. Please identify yourself and also the agency you belong. Commercial Radio. Regarding the censure motion, I'd like to know who will be the sponsor of that motion. And you just said that you hope to secure a slot in the next month, but then you have to deal with the appropriation bill and the collocation arrangement. So there may be a big traffic jam in Council, making it impossible for the motion to be voted on in the near future. And there are some criticism that for ICs, you will not come to any conclusion after huge expenses. All right, this time you've come to a conclusion. Have you got any idea as to the expenses incurred? And a number of legislators, including Dr. Cheng Chung-ta, have refused to give evidence in the IC. What is your comment on that? And when Dr. Cheng Chung-ta commented on the work of the IC, he said that it was a rather nonsense, frivolous, and it was not really doing something concrete. Well, we want to secure a slot on the 9th of May, and it depends on whether there are government motions submitted. We will have to join the queue. We can only say that we secure a slot on the 9th of May, the earliest. If there are more important issues, we don't mind waiting a bit. And the IC has all along welcomed members from the Democratic camp or from the opposition camp to join the ICS members. They have all either refused or declined to join. So we cannot say that because of the behavior we will not proceed with the work of the IC. Because this is under the ROP, a motion has been moved and we have to set up an IC accordingly. The IC has to submit a report to the Council, and they will have to discuss it and then vote on whether they support the report. We've said very clearly that we propose to censure Dr. Cheng Chung-ta for inverting the NP and RP on the 16th of October 2016. And we propose to censor him for such conduct. Regarding evidence taking, some members were absent. I think that's their choice. 14th, according to our record and also what we see from the video recording, all 3 members present were invited to join. They have every right to come to the IC to tell us their observations and views. So after all, it is members' own decision. IC has not invoked the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance, so we cannot compel a particular person to come in front of the IC to testify. Mr. Luk Chun-hong, a member from the media asked about the costs incurred. I think the greatest problem lies with Cheng Chung-ta. He did it deliberately. He deliberately humiliated the country, the SAR. He was disrespectful of the council. As members from the pro-establishment camp, we feel that we have the responsibility to set things right. We must set up an IC when there is a motion to do so. And therefore, I volunteered to join in the first instance because we must set things right. We have the duty to defend the dignity of the council and the country. As regards frivolous, well, nothing will be as frivolous as the behavior or conduct of Cheng Chung-ta. He has been so disgraceful. As of today, he has not reflected on his wrong behavior, and therefore the council must censor him. Allow me to supplement on the matter of expenses. We really have to thank the Secretariat because this IC has not incurred any extra expenses. For the IC involving Cam Nai Wai, LegCo employed a team, and the extra expenses was $1.65 million. But this time we have not incurred any additional expenses. I must thank the Secretariat for working so hard. The legal advisor has been most helpful, and we have not incurred any expenses for this IC. Dr. Elizabeth Quat, you have something to add? Yes, regarding the question of frivolous, when we proposed that motion, there was a heated debate in the House committee. Members from the Democratic camp said that it was just for fun, it was childish, and it was frivolous. They tried to defend Cheng Chung-ta. I think the development of events showed that it was not really a childish matter or for fun because the matter has been ruled by the court already.
So, if a privilege act like that would result in somebody being taken to court and found guilty, I think public would agree that this is not frivolous because it involves the dignity of our country and whether or not a LegCo member has violated the oath that he has taken, and also the rules of this council, as well as the misconduct on the part of a LegCo member. So this is a very serious matter. It's certainly not frivolous. That's why we have adopted a very serious attitude when we deliberated on this matter and came to this conclusion. The motion. After we have submitted a motion, Mr. Paul Chair will be moving the motion. I'm from the Standard. You said to endorse the motion of censorship, you need the support of 2/3 of the members. The Democratic camp now holds more than 1/3 of the seats. Are you worried that despite all the efforts that you've made, there will be no, this will not be endorsed? And also, will some members be absent from when the vote was taken so that the motion is not taken? Well, I think inverting the mock-up of the national flag could be. Is the accusation tantamount to a political censorship? Now, we certainly believe that if you were a LegCo member, you should know clearly that the public has expectations of the conduct of LegCo members. The law and the basic law also, delineated such expectation. This is not a frivolous matter. It involves the expectations of LegCo members as provided for in the basic law. Of course, we have tried our best to explain to the public our grounds as to whether other members would like to defend Dr. Cheng, especially those from the opposition camp, whether or not they're going to defend such misconduct on the part of Dr. Cheng. That will be the choice of those members. But in the process, the committee, I think, found that when this member repeatedly humiliated the national flag, he was in fact humiliating our own country, and many members of the public found this very offensive. So I think we should defer to the members from the Democratic camp as to and let them decide how the public feel, and such acts which humiliate our country, I believe, actually gave rise to a lot of public, anger. As to whether or not there will be no outcome when the vote was taken, that is not for the IC to consider. The committee has already done its job diligently. It was a duty to inform the public and to inform this council and all our colleagues that after we have taken evidence and considered all the facts, as you find in the report, we've also taken reference of many other court precedents before we came to this unanimous conclusion. So whatever the outcome of the vote taken by the council, this case will become an important part of the history of this council, so that when future members of this council would know how they should behave, so that the behavior is becoming of what is expected of them. Of course, some members may, for political reasons, come to certain decisions, but I think we'll leave it to the members themselves to decide. As a member of the committee, I also like to supplement that this committee, especially myself as being one of the members, I think our duty was to look at the facts and the evidence and then to come to a conclusion as to whether or not the two allegations were substantiated. We needed to look at the facts and the evidence and not what the outcome might be when the council votes on this motion. That is not our duty. If we have to consider what might be the outcome of the vote to be taken and let that interfere with our decision, that is not our duty. When the vote was taken in this council, if members come to the decision for whatever reasons, they will need to be accountable to the people of Hong Kong. When this motion of censorship is vetoed, would that mean that it will be the end of the council members, effort to hold Dr. Cheng accountable? Now, after the council has debated and voted on this motion, that I believe the procedure would have completed by then. As to how the public would react, and that would be something else. But procedurally, according to our rules of procedure, we would have concluded our work.
Members in your committee are pro-establishment members. Are you concerned that people would criticize you for lacking in transparency or being, unfair to Dr. Cheng? And the second question is, some say Dr. Cheng's antics are simply, childish acts. Are you going too far as to, censuring him or even trying to disqualify him? Thank you.
First of all, the committee welcomed different legislators to join. In particular, we do welcome the legislators from the pan-democratic camp or the opposition camp to come and express their views. But they chose not to join as members of the committee. So we cannot stop the investigation purely because the pan-democratic camp decided not to join. We have to fulfill our duties, and we have to be accountable to the public regarding this highly debatable issue. In fact, under the circumstances of October 2016, the community was very concerned about the attitude and the validity of different kind of oaths that you might describe as childish way. But if you look at it from the point of the basic law and from the ulterior motive of doing these acts, it does reflect from a third reasonable person, they do not want to be loyal to their oath, as well as they do not want to show any respect to our country and to the Hong Kong SAR. So what we have to do is we are now actually trying to ascertain the facts, as well as to make recommendations out of the ascertained facts. The ascertained fact, in fact, is undisputable because it happened in the eyes of the public. The recommendation is based on very firm legal grounds, including the most recent judgments made in Hong Kong concerning Cheng Chung-ta himself of the same act. And even based on the criminal standard, which is beyond reasonable doubt, the magistrate convicted the act as a crime. For our committee, our role is to determine the standard of behaviors of a legislator in accordance with the basic law requirement, as well as in accordance with the rules of procedures of the Legislative Council and the public expectation. We are quite sure we need to provide a standard that can meet the expectation of the public that legislators are serious about their job. Legislators cannot act in a childish way. Of course, cannot insult our own country, as well as the Hong Kong SAR, while you are in the chamber. Legislative Council meeting is in session, and which is a deliberate act to show the public that he is not respecting the country. So all these things altogether are under our consideration, not just one single act. And in fact, maybe if he did offer an apology, a wholehearted apology, it will give some kind of allowance or consideration to the members, both to the committee or to other legislators and the public, but he didn't. He also did not make use of any opportunities that he could submit his apology. So our committee is bound by our terms of reference. And our role is to ascertain the facts. The facts have been found to be undisputable. And those facts definitely have not met the requirement of Article 75(7), that is, a legislator should adhere to his own oath, be loyal to our country and to Hong Kong SAR, as well as even in terms of the disciplinary problem of his own behavior as a legislator in chamber, he cannot meet with that. Okay?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.